All right, starting where we left off last time. What we have left is kind of the, it's a little more in-depth, a little more complex, but I don't think too difficult at all. Um, we're going to go through and take what we learned in the previous sections and now create a script that gets information from people, specifically their first name, their last name, location, and their age. And then we're going to add a print statement that combines all that information and prints it, right? After we do that, we'll go over if, for, and while functions. And lastly, we'll go over the challenge portion. So we want to first then create a file called personal info. So file new, and then file save as. We're in the right spot. We just want to save it as personal-info.py and hit enter. Now let's go ahead. It says create a script that asks for 4 pieces of information: name, first name, last name, location, and age. And we're going to ask for information. So the input then, or what we're getting, the input is from the keyboard. So we got to use the input function. So first name. Wow, I'm struggling. There we go. First name equals, and then our string. What is your first name? Question mark. Move my cursor over twice with just my arrow keys. Hit enter. Now I want to get the last name. So last name equals, what is your last name? The next part it wants is location. So our variable is location. Whoops, I messed every one of these up. Input. I said it in the beginning. We're going to use input. For whatever reason. Got too excited with that string. We got to use our input function. There we go. First name equals input, and then our string, because we want them to be able to respond and fill that out. Our location equals input. What is your location? And the last part is age. So age equals input. What is your age? Question mark. All right, go to the end of that line, hit enter. Now we want to print it. And they have you printing it in a nice sentence, which I'm going to go ahead and do just because it gives us our mix of our strings and our variables. So print hi, and then call first name and last name. We forgot our plus. So it should say hi, first name, last name. So if they enter John Doe, then hi, John Doe, right? And then we want to add the location. I need to be capitalized. Your location is, that's our next string. Then we add the location variable. Then we add our next string. Your age is, and move over to the other side of our end quote. Add age variable. Then we add our string of years old. Now let's go back through it. What should this be outputting? Print hi, and then the first name, last name. Your location is, and then the location they entered. Your age is, and then the age they entered. And then years old. Oh, we don't know. They could put anything in there. They could put months in there for all we know. But because we didn't put what is your age in years. We could do that though. Let's do that. So let's go back. I'm just using arrows to move around to navigate the arrow. So what is your age? Let's put what is your age in years. There. Then we're sure that our sentence makes sense or our output makes sense. Now let's see if we did this correctly. Go all the way to the end, just hit enter, and then we file, We're going to save it. And then we're going to run. We run without debugging. I think it also has you in the lab. It has you actually type it in the interpreter. That's fine too. So what is your name? Jane. Whoops, Jan, I guess. I guess my name's Jan. I didn't move the cursor again. Doe. Your location. We'll put Alaska. And that's like a nice location right now. 29. I'm 29. Whoops. I forgot some spaces in there. But it's alright. Hi, Jan Doe. Your location is Alaska. Your age is 29 years old. We could go up and fix it. Put our spaces in, right? So put a space in there. Where else don't I have a space? Your location is... Gotta put a space before your... There we go. Let's try it again. Just for the fun of it. Because that's the kind of person I am. See if I got my spaces in all the right spots this time. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Gotta go down here. Let's do Jane this time. No. Alaska. I'm still 29. There you go. Got our spaces in. It looks a little better now. Oh, missed one there again. That's okay. We won't do it again. Alright, so we wrote our script. So the next part is we want to look at if, for, and while functions. So we're going to first create an if-else function just by copying and pasting what's in there. So we're going to open a new file, a new blank file. Oh, sorry, didn't want to do that. File, new. And what are we going to name it? If .vlan.py. And we can go ahead, you can copy and paste this right out of the lab. So I'm going to highlight it all from the lab. So what it's doing is it's setting two variables, native VLAN and data VLAN. Native VLAN is 1, the data VLAN is 100. If native VLAN is equal to data VLAN, then print the native VLAN and the data VLAN are the same. Otherwise, or else in this case, the native VLAN and the data VLAN are different. So remember, our if-else function is for us to either be true or false. And so if we have more than two conditions, we're going to use elif. The first part's the very first part, which is our if-else. Like I said, you can just copy and paste it right in there. So we'll go ahead and save it. And we'll run it. And we get that the native VLAN and the data VLAN are different because they are. One's 1 and one's 100. If we go up and change our script, we'll just get rid of these zeros. And we'll save again. You'd think at this point I'd be using Control S, huh? I don't know why. And we run. And it should tell us that they're the same now. So that's our if-else. And it's kind of cool because they give it to you. So when I say you don't necessarily have to have a ton of background, we need to know the fundamentals, but there's information that's given to you, and it will get you along the way. So now we're going to use elif because we want to evaluate more than two things. We're going to look at, is the access list standard? In this example, we're going to look at, is the access list standard or extended, or if it's neither. So that's going to be three different things. So we'll create a new file called ifacl. And we'll go ahead, let's save it real quick. So we'll save as if-acl.py, hit enter. And now again, we're just going to copy and paste the script that they gave us, and we'll walk through it real quick. So what they're saying is ACL num is an integer, and they're using the input command. What is the IPv4 ACL number? The user is going to enter a number. If the ACL number, so if this variable, I love that I can highlight here and it highlights in every spot. is greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 99, it's going to give us the output that this is a standard IPv4 ACL. Elif, right, it's greater than or equal to 100 and less than or equal to 199, it's going to print this is an extended ACL. Now, if it's neither of these, then we hit our else statement, and our else statement is, so it's neither, it doesn't fit into the if or the elif, it's going to print this is not a standard or extended IPv4 ACL. Oh, I'm going to do the Control S this time, guys. I'm going to do it. So Control S to save it, and we're going to go ahead and run it. Oh, should have done Control F5 since I did the other one. Too late now. We're going to run it. What's your ACL number? Let's give it a 99. Tells me it's a standard IPv4 ACL. Notice it runs and then ends. We're going to go through instances where the program will keep running until the user ends it somehow. But let's run this again. Let's do the Control F5. Run it again. I understand. What is the IPv4 ACL number? Oh, 101. And it tells me it's extended. Last time, well, I'll give it a 1000. And then we hit the else statement in this case. This is not a standard or extended IPv4 ACL. So again, the variable, we're asking for input, you're going to input it. If the variable, or if what's input is between 1 and 99, it'll print as a standard ACL. Else if it's between 100 and 199, it's an extended ACL. If neither of these conditions are true, then it's not standard or extended. All right, so our next part is we're going to create a for loop. And we're going to do this right in the interactive interpreter. So we're down here now. And we're going to create a list called devices. So a for loop is just going to allow us to loop or iterate through the different elements in our list. So we're going to first create our list called devices. We're going to use our brackets for a list, and we're going to create the same list we created earlier. We called it host names earlier. We're going to call it devices now. So R1. Oops. Okay, I thought I hit something. R2. R3. Oh, almost forgot my end quote. S1. And then S2. Our end bracket, hit enter. Oops. What did I do? Oh, I'm a doofus. Forgot to go into Python. Said, oh, we're going to use our interpreter, but never actually started it. Python 3 and hit enter. Now we're ready. We see, remember I said when you see these symbols, you know you're in there. Now I gotta type it again. Oh, probably didn't copy it, I bet you. Look at that. Just highlight what I typed before, copy it, paste it. Now I can hit enter. Excellent. Now, for item in devices, and we're going to space over 4 times. I have our indent. Print item. Okay, so we created our devices list. For item in devices, or for item in, I almost messed that up. For item, darn it. See if I can go up there.
Sorry, I'm having...
Yep. Hold on. Let's try this again. I mistyped this, and then my phone thought I had it too near me, and it thought I said S-I-R-I. I'm not going to say it again. So let's do this again. Devices. I just want to make it clean. For item in devices, I got to call the right list if I'm going to use it. Now, 2, 3, 4, print item. And then hit enter twice, and now we print our item. Sorry about that. I got a little stuck there. I realized I forgot the S the first time around, and then My phone thought I said SIRI, so I was trying to get away while I was in the middle of the video to get it to be quiet. So anyway, we created our list, and now we iterated. We used our for loop to iterate and print each item in our list. Now what if I want to print specific items? So I want to print all the items that start with R. So we'll do for item in devices again. If, and do our for space indent, if R in item, so if R is in the item, we're going to do 8 spaces in for our print item, and hit enter twice. So then it prints only the things that have an R in them in our list. Now we're going to create a while loop. You'll notice that our if statement, or our for loop, it ends, or we end when it found what it found. Our while loop will keep going as long as the Boolean expression is true. So it keeps evaluating, and it won't stop until this expression is false. So let's go ahead and create a new file, new file. And we're going to save it as, Computer's having a problem here all of a sudden. There we go. Oh, while loop, while dash loop dot py. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a script that asks the user for a number. It's going to typecast the inputted string value to an integer. Set a variable to start the count. That'll be our y equals. And then print and increment by 1. And again, they give you the script. So just go ahead and copy and paste it in. Let's go ahead and look at it once we've got it in there. Right, so first we get our input. That's the first step. Ask for a number. And then typecast this value to an integer. That's whatever they enter. We're going to typecast it to an integer. And then we're going to set the variable to start the count. And our while condition is while y is less than or equal to x, we're going to keep printing y. And y gets incremented by 1. So go ahead and save it. Control S. And run it. Oh, what'd I do? I tend to do this. Oh, here. Let's save it again. No. Whoops. There we go. Oh, run. There we go. I just probably didn't save it right. Maybe I hit control something other than S. Enter a number to count to 10. And then it just keeps giving you the numbers, but it ends. Right? Because once the expression is false, once y is not less than or equal to x, it ends. And x is 10 because that's what I entered in. So once it hit 10, it was done. I shouldn't say, technically once it hit 11, but it wasn't going to display 11 because that's when it exits the loop. Alright. Then we get another way to write it. I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste that as well. Let me just, look at that. I copied it from the lab already. I hit Control V and get it in there. So now, instead of doing the while y is less than or equal to x, we use a Boolean check instead and break to go ahead and stop the loop when the check evaluates to false. So again, still our x typecast, still our y. While true, print y. Y equals y plus 1, so it's going to keep iterating through. If y is greater than x, so once y becomes greater than x, then it's done. Then we go ahead and break. So again, I hit Control F to run it. It says enter a number to count to. Let's count to 3 and hit enter. So we get 1, 2, 3 in this case. So just two different ways to accomplish the same thing. Our next part is to get user input. So the next part is, we notice that in our first loop, it ends when the expression is false. What if we want to be able to keep running the program until the user says, okay, we're done? Quit and exit, whatever. It'll keep running until that happens. So that's our next part, is we're going to run the program as many times as the user wants to until they type the word or the letter Q or the word quit. So again, I'm just going to copy what they've given us. I'm going to go copy. And whoops, and we're just going to paste it all in. I think I did it all. So while true, so we're going to keep running this while it's true. X equals input, enter the number to count. To count to, sorry. If X is equal to Q or quit, then stop running. So then break, right? And then it gives us the same parameters we had before. X is an integer of X, Y equals 1, while true, print Y. So all of this is the same as before. Basically what we've added in is our additional, first our while true and our up at the top, and then our additional if X is equal to Q or quit, then we're going to go ahead and break. So we added our additional while loop to allow the user to decide when they wanted to quit it. So save it, Control F, or wow, see, that's why. Save it with Control S, run it with Control F5, and then you see it came up down here, so we're going to do 5. It gives me a 5, but then notice it comes back and it allows me to do another number. Hit a 3, hit a 2. Now I'm done playing this game, so I hit Q to quit and hit enter. So now that's our while loop that allows us to run until the user is ready to be over, or to be done with it. I'm going to stop this one here. I hate going over 30 minutes, and we're about 22 minutes. So the next part, or the Python review part 3, we'll actually go over part 5 of your lab, which is the methods for file access. So we'll look at, we've been creating the list so far, but we do have that devices.txt file that we have saved in our virtual machine. We're going to use and manipulate that file. And then after we're done, I think we're going to use that file. Then we're going to notice there's some extra blank lines between each thing that we're kind of listing or working with. So we'll remove those. And then I think we're going to append some things to that file, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to think through. And then lastly, we'll do the challenge portion. So part 3 will have what you guys would consider in your lab is part 5 all the way through the challenge portion of it, to kind of go through a little more complex. So far we've been inputting from our keyboard. We want to demonstrate inputting from a file, which actually uses the open command or the open function rather than the input function. So we'll stop this one here and then we'll do a part 3.